Lookdev to us was one of the most impressive things added to Blender 2.8, among many other things that were also quite impressive. If we press Q, under settings is an option for Lookdev. It's the same Lookdev that you can find by going into Alt-V and going to Lookdev. In fact, the easiest way to go to Lookdev for me is to press Alt-V, and here we are in Lookdev. In my particular setup, I have quite a few environments because I've extended on it, but we can just press S and just move through these, press A to go back and forth, even use the arrow keys to move around. And if you look through the settings on the side, there's quite a few settings that we're able to go through, and it's quite interactive. And this is a comparison to just switching over to Lookdev and then going over here and adjusting the strength and playing with the rotation and dealing with the blur, which we felt to be a little bit static. So our goal was to provide something to users that felt a little bit more interactive for the process that we aim to have with the hard surface experience. So we hope that users get in there and try adding some environments of their own. Of course, you may want to keep the file sizes kind of small. I did do a video about my Lookdev setup and how I compressed a ton of various HDRs from over time in order to get it to fit in the type of setup that I would need without it running the RAM through the roof and causing the program to crash. But if you want to use it, it's there for you, and it'll just allow you to just cycle through your Lookdev, and you can just jump through it and just click and it's done. The good thing about Lookdev is that in the opt-ins there's an option here where you can make viewport set render, which I actually have enabled, and just basically by pressing Alt-V and going through and configuring the Lookdev and clicking and applying it, you have just configured your render. I mean, you don't get the blur in the background, so let's actually address that a little bit by picking a better background. And so now we see that in the render, the environment's already been set up for us, and we're able to just jump to the render. Of course, we will need to go in and deal with the blurring of this and maybe replace it with the EMV if we're going for that sort of effect, or even add a backdrop. But that is one of the only differences between Lookdev and the render result that you're able to deal with at this time. We even took care to ensure that when you put a particular rotation on it and you jump over to render, that same rotation also carries over to the render. So another way to look at Lookdev Plus is a quick way of just using Lookdev to get in, configure your environment for whatever you're trying to render, and then just click apply and instantly be able to just jump over and render it without any further ado.